herzlich willkommen zurück auf Schalke America. It's a Victory Monday. I'm your host, Richard. Joining me as always, co-host from Chicagoland, Jack. How we doing?
You were right in front of the camera there, like a rap video coming at me. I wasn't expecting that. Victory Monday, sir, and an important one, given the opponent and given some of the results recently. So, yeah, happy to be here with you on a Victory Monday, given the context.
Yeah, and we were unsure if we were going to have Victory Monday heading into this weekend, but lots to talk about tonight. We're obviously going to talk about the game that was Elversberg, have some talking points from the match, and then we'll look at some news outside of the game itself and happen off the field. But let's get right into this game here. Top of the table clash. It was second versus third at that point. We're coming off of two losses in a row, one in the Pokal and then one in obviously in the league last week against Karlsruhe. And so we're reeling a little bit. We're playing a team who is the top scoring team in the league, who's also very good defensively. Very difficult matchup. Looking at the lineups into this one. All right, so first for the visitors, which would be Elversberg. Interesting names here on the starting 11 for Elversberg, but obviously the guy up top, Yunus Ibn Talib, leading goal scorer in the league. Very good. He's been very clinical this season. Obviously the main danger man for them, but this is a complete, I mentioned this last week, this is probably the most complete team in the league. One of the best defenses, top scoring team, nearly got promoted last year. This is the team that we had to worry about. Yeah, they're a little bit reeling at the moment, but it's still the most complete team, I think, top to bottom throughout the league. Thoughts on Elversberg heading into this one?
Yeah, I agree with you. And even though they're not, obviously top of the table, I think they easily have a claim as being, the best team so far this season, depending on how you want to look at it. And yeah, I mean, leading the line, as you mentioned, the Bundesliga with 9 goals so far. I think that's top in the second division or close to it, if not top. So, yeah, was super concerned about this encounter, given how they've looked this season and given that we're looking at potentially our most vulnerable that we've looked all year long. Like you said, those 2 results with some of our worst defensive performances in them. So the timing wasn't ideal and was super concerned about the attack for sure.
Curious to see what kind of lineup we were going to have. We quickly found out what the lineup was. For the most part, it's a standard starting 11, but in goal, obviously, Loris Karius, leading the league in clean sheets. And back defense, you had Kuruçay, Katic, and Ayhan. Midfield, you had Becker, Schallenberg, El Fauzi, and Porat. So Porat's in there for Gantenbeim. We speculated who it might be in place of Gantenbeim, and Porat is the guy who we kind of leaned on. And then in attack, you had Sylla leading the line with Karaman and Mika Valentovic behind him. The 17-year-old gets to start in this game. And obviously, he's going to get the attention grabber, being he's so young, with other options that were possibly available. Thoughts on his insertion in the lineup in general?
Yeah, I mean, look, always love seeing youngsters come through. It's part of what we enjoy, as Schalke supporters. And thought overall he actually looked, okay in this game. I thought he was really engaged against the ball, and seemed to, understand for the most part, like, the concept and what his responsibilities were within Muslic's, against the ball schemes. I also, he looked lively and had some good moments in possession as well. He had a pretty sick back heel at one moment. It was kind of like a lead pass back heel in the box that was pretty disgusting. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see that. Outside of that, yeah, you said Gantenbein unavailable because of suspension. Would have been surprised if it wasn't Porat, but happy to see that because I like him in general. And we've obviously earlier in the season before Gantenbein really started kind of going on a tear a little bit, we were talking about very much so, who the better option is, and I think that's still an open question. So yeah, but strong lineup overall.
Yeah, I was happy to see, surprised, but happy to see Valentovic for sure. The youngster, his previous cameo looked good. The energy, we need the energy. And Moussa loves his high energy guys, especially if they can follow his plan to a T. And we would need to in a game like this against Elversberg. Quick shout out to Med Hunter, Michael, and Joseph in the chat. See you guys, and whoever else is there. Drop in and say hi. Yeah, it was a very difficult one. The question was, how are we going to start in this one? Obviously, the last 2 games. Darmstadt and the Pokal, miserable game, lost 4-0. Then go to Karlsruhe. Looked okay for majority of the game, and then at the end, just capitulated and gave up 2 goals late at the death and blew that and didn't know where our confidence was going to be. We've heard from Muslic that we're going to shake these losses off and just keep moving forward, not trying to dwell on the past. So we weren't sure what team we're going to react here, but I think an early sign, I mean 2 minutes in, really early in the game, Elversberg gets an opportunity. Schalke's defense completely shuts them down immediately. It ended up being offsides anyway, but I think a good sign that the defense was ready for the attack, which we knew was going to be an onslaught, it seemed like, of offensive possession. The start is important. we've seen in the games that we've done well, we've got off to hot starts, especially at home. In the games where we haven't been able to get a score early, it ends up being a much more difficult game. Well, we get a innocuous like throw in the 4th minute. Ball goes in the box. I think it was Valentevitz actually who threw it in pretty deep. He's got a good throw in like Antwi Ajay gets in the box. The ball gets cleared out. I forget who clears the ball kind of back in. Kuruçay was up there in the attack initially. He kind of lingered there, right? He's a lingerer, to quote Pineapple Express there. But the ball goes in the box, falls to Sylla. Sylla heads it down right to Kuruçay, who one times it right past the keeper. I mean, he looked like a striker there. What a finish there. Love seeing Sylla with the assist and then Kuruçay with the finish. Up 1-0, 4 minutes into the game, Jack. You had to be happy about that.
And we all know how much you love to let it linger, Richard. So, no, yeah, it's dude, Kuruçay's got goals in him. Not the first time this season. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be the last. And he had like more opportunities in I think the second, like some other point in the game too. He had multiple shots on goal in this one. So yeah, he pops up and he's able to get his head on stuff occasionally, but we know that he's dangerous with his feet around the edge of the box too. So yeah, well taken. And like you said, so many times this season we've been able to go and grab a goal or two early, often in the first 20 minutes, half hour, which is such a huge turn from what we've been experiencing in the past, and it's really gone a long way towards helping us get control of some of these games and whatnot. This time it wasn't necessarily through the energy and the pressing force people into an early mistake and then capitalizing on that way. It was more just, like set off of the throw in and whatnot. But even so, great way to get the crowd going 2 minutes into the game in front of the home support. The one thing I will say is like I kind of disagree with you on the defensive thing because like the argument is, hey, it was offside, so like they held whatever line they needed to hold and executed it, and then obviously it still was kind of intercepted at the end in the box. But like one of the main issues is when people get like direct and start making those in behind runs against us, we look vulnerable real quick. And I'm not saying we've been punished for it as much, but I think we've gotten away with it. And I think over the course of the season, we are going to be punished for it more than we have so far. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and maybe we're executing it well and we're going to stay at that level. But like when I see stuff like that in the first couple of minutes, that gets me nervous about how high our line is and those sorts of things. So I know that's the way we're playing, but over the course of the season, I just don't know if the math is going to math. We'll see.
Math is going to math. Yeah, I know. It's interesting because I think once we play these teams a second time, whatever weaknesses we had in that first game, they're going to try to expose it for sure, like you said. And so we'll see. We're going to have to make adjustments as we get into the Hinrunde, Rückrunde, I should say. But we're not there yet. So we get the early goal from Kuruçay. I think, of all the defenders, he's the most capable of scoring anyway. Header by foot, ass, whatever. But he seems the most capable, competent up top. Not that others can't score themselves. You can catch do it many times as well. But up 1-0, great way to start the game. I thought whenever we score early, it's right in the wheelhouse of Miron Muslic. Those type of coaches like Mourinho and those guys who like to play defensive style. They want to go early just so they can be comfortable playing their system and force the opposition out of their comfort zone. I felt that was going to happen. That we're going to cede possession and let Elversberg take it over. It's a worrisome thing because obviously Elversberg is so good, but also it's kind of what Muslic wants. He wants to draw them in and hopefully has his team ready for the game. And what I kept noticing throughout the first half is every attack that Elversberg came down, it just got shut down. And it's like, yeah, they would penetrate a little bit, maybe get close to the box, but it would just get shut down. At least I thought really good work by the defense. I thought Karius was pretty confident too. A couple of times where they try to make a through pass from behind the line. Karius would be outside of his box and ready and either kick it out or intercept it or whatever. So I thought he was ready for that. I thought at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Karius has been very alert all season long, which has been nice. Not that you wouldn't expect that. I don't know why, but like I just feel like it would be easier for somebody at this point of his career playing in the second division to maybe just zone out longer when he's not involved in the game. But he's always been, pretty sharp.
We've been so used to our goalkeepers kind of zoning out up until this point where it feels like it's almost that's what we expect. Is like we're going to play so well, but the goalkeeper's not going to pay attention, and someone's going to make a silly error. How many goalkeepers have we had in the last 5 years that's made stupid errors? And so it's nice seeing Karius be as sharp as he has been throughout the season so far, especially in this game. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I feel like in the first half, especially, like we did a really good job of taking away the center of the pitch, which obviously that's a lot of people's goal usually, but like we do that to varying degrees of success. And I thought that the organization was great. Like we would funnel them into an area and there would be multiple bodies that are pursuing the ball in numbers in a coordinated way and kind of cul-de-sacking them and then having them reset. And really the only times where they looked particularly dangerous is when they were on the rare occasion where they were able to break through one of those and then cross field quickly to, the side that's not overloaded with the Schalke pressure. There's a couple of those opportunities, but outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot happening in the first half at all.
I thought the youngster Valentevitz had good pace in the attack. For some reason, I always pictured him as a wingback, and I guess he technically is, but he can certainly play that position that he played in this game up in the attacking role, and he's got good pace. Obviously, he's got a lot of energy as a youngster. He seems like he's a good addition for the attack, whether it's short term or long term. I think we got to keep building on that and develop him there because I think he has obviously an eye for goal, good passing, good vision. It's still very raw, obviously, but I thought the pace was really good. Surprising about the pace. I wasn't expecting him to be as fast as he was in the game, at least. In terms of opportunities in the first half, we probably had the better of the opportunities. 22nd, Karaman got the ball on the left-hand side. I think it was El Fauzi or somebody gave him a pass. Got the shot off inside the net. Probably half the stadium thought it went in.
The commentator was talking about like the cutback opportunities on that one. I wasn't blaming Karaman too much. I thought he was too far ahead to like really blame him for taking that shot. But it's always going to be a tough one when you're, trying to pull that back across your body and not go to the side netting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it said Sylla was open or something, but I'm like, no, there was no chance that the shot was the best option there, and I was fine with that shot for sure. You mentioned Kuruçay about the 30th minute mark. He had an opportunity as well. That ball was cleared off the line by the defender for Elversberg. Late in the 36th minute or so, chaos was in the box, and we almost scored a goal again. It wasn't all us. Obviously, Karius didn't have much to do with his game. A couple of times he did have to make some saves, like in the 24th minute, I remember there was a header, and he made a great save on that, ended up being offsides, but he didn't know it at the time, right? And then again, in the 33rd minute, another was a short side shot, and he saved that as well, ended up being offsides too. So, while technically he didn't have any shots on goal at the time, because they're offsides, he still made some good saves, and it was a good position, very confident, like you said. So, at least that was a good sign, even though they weren't technically getting shots off. He was still there regardless, I think. So I was happy with that. Overall, first half, I remember possession was very lopsided. What were your impressions of the first half, up 1-0?
I felt pretty good about it. I thought we looked good in the first half. We talk a lot about possessional disparity with the way that Muslic sets up his team and the way we approach the game. But depending on how the game goes, that can look better or worse. This was one where I don't think it looked bad for us, despite, being on the other end of that. So, and we obviously had success with that overall. There's been questions about whether or not we need to change that to some extent. Like once again, are we getting away with something? But for the moment, no, I thought we looked good in this one. It was a much more organized and sort of energetic performance I think we've seen from the last couple.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of how I thought once the goal went in for us that it was going to be all Elversberg in terms of possession. It certainly was. First half statistics: 69% possession for Elversberg, 31 for us. We had 4 shots and they only had 1. And if you look at shots on target, they had none in the first half. So overall, pretty good. Passing wise, they had already at that point 150 more passes than we did in the game. It was only going to get worse as the game went on, but very stout defensively, I think, in that first half. Overall, not bad. I still wanted to see us create more opportunities because, like anybody, I hate these close games, man. It's like we've so been accustomed to close games and then somehow blowing it either, late or just blowing up or something. And we've been conditioned like that for the last, 10 years, it feels like. So I'm not comfortable yet with this 1-0 lead, despite how good we have been this year. So.
Yeah, but I'm also, once again, I hate to keep bringing up NFL this season, but I'm also a Bears fan. So think about who's been doubly conditioned to lose every close game possible over the last couple of years, which the Bears were doing all last season and suddenly are not doing this season. So Schalke and Bears have made a complete 180. And it's hard for me to kind of emotionally not have to prepare for that all the time.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Med Hunter say he compares us to back in the day when when all the grapplers would win their matches. Yeah, we Royce Gracie here, I guess, maybe. Yeah, interesting first half for sure. Second half, you knew it was going to be much more the same in terms of everything that we saw in the first half. There was a good play early in the second half. I think it was around the 60th minute or so. Schalke actually carved up the defense for Elversberg. El Fauzi finds Sylla with an opportunity. Keeper read it well, and that opportunity kind of snuffed that one out. Give a shout out to Porat because I think shortly after that he had a sensational volley. Sure, it was at the keeper, but it was a great volley nonetheless, and they made the keeper make a save.
He usually gets one of those off a game at minimum, and more often than not, it's on target. Obviously, it doesn't always relate. It doesn't always go anywhere. But like, I always got angry at Kevin Pritz Boateng because it just wastes possession because he fits it 30 yards over the goal. Like Porat's on target a lot, so yeah, it's actually effective.
Technical ability. He's actually pretty good. Is it consistent all the time? No, but he's got really good technical ability. Actually, interesting point of the game. You could see that tensions are mounting, and obviously, if you're Elversberg, you have all the possession in the world, but you can't break down this defense, and you got to be getting frustrated. And Schalke were doing their normal, fouls and this and that. And so eventually we got to a boiling point. That was the 71st minute where ball's midfield going out of bounds. And you see Valentevitz and Pinkert, the captain for Elversberg, going for it. And Pinkert falls down, goes down. It looked like an innocent contact, when you're watching the game. All of a sudden, number 8 for Elversberg comes to his captain's defense and tries to fight Valentevitz. And I love the reaction from Schalke because Karaman and every other player just surrounded the youngster and got in his face and didn't let that happen. Valentevitz, to his credit, he just walked off like whatever. I'm good. Love seeing that from the response by the team there when your youngster is getting threatened like he was, and they stepped up. Especially Carmen, he's the captain. You expect that from him. But I love seeing that there, and I think that was just emblematic of how much the tension was rising in the game, considering the stakes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you can tell there's a good team dynamic at the moment. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not trying to speak in glowing terms about the performance from the kid. I'm not saying he was spectacular or anything, but the moment didn't seem too big for him.
No,
and that's something else that you look at when you're looking at 17-year-olds. Yeah, second division, it's not like he's going up against Bayern Munich on the road or something like that, or playing in the Revere Derby. But I'm just saying, does he look like he's competent out there? He's not frazzled constantly. He can play with and I thought he looked great in that regard. So for sure. And that was another moment where things could have been going a little haywire for him, and handled that well too.
Yeah. Only other things I would say about the game: 73rd minute, their big man up top did score a goal, but you look at the replay; it was clear offsides. It wasn't even close. So the one time Karius gets beat, it was clear offsides, and then 78th minute, the return of the GOAT. Cotriciani got to the matchup. Good to see him there. Porat did go out with an injury. It looked like he got one too many hits to the head or something like that, and so they took him out. I'm guessing concussion protocol. Knock on wood, hopefully it's not that. We did get Sigo Triciani out there, so it's good to see him out there. And we just, we finished out the game. We went 1-0. It went to what? Because of all the injuries in that second half, we got 10 minutes of stoppage time, something like that. The crowd was growing restless, but we eventually got it done. 1-0. At the time we were top of the table. Great response by us. We, considering back-to-back losses against good teams, and again we're playing even another good team, and we got to win. Thoughts?
Yeah, huge. As I said earlier, I mean, it was not as confident going into this one as maybe we have been against some other matches this season, given what we've seen recently. And it seemed like not an ideal time to be having a dip in form, but this was a great rally home. I mean, once again, the 1-0 scoreline is not going to blow anyone away. That's how we've kind of been operating this season, and it wasn't a bad looking 1-0. I thought it was relatively convincing, as convincing as you can be having that little possession. I feel like, if you know what I mean. I thought we looked good in this game, so that was encouraging. I thought they were, defensively, there's some good. Karius was great. Kuruçay was great. I thought Porat did great coming in for Gantenbein. El Fayouzi continues to be, a revelation borderline. I think the guy's he's fantastic. Could be signing in the season. Sylla, we're still not getting, I think, overall, the kind of electricity we want from this season. Although once again, he did kind of break his duck finally in recent weeks. But as long as the defense can put in the clean sheets, this is going to keep happening. I may not like it. It may not make me comfortable. I may be concerned about over the course of the season how it works out, but it's proven to be a winning formula so far. So yeah, good result.
So far, so good. We got a 4-point cushion now between us and third place Elversberg, which is nice. It's a little bit of breathing room here heading into the national break. Yeah, I agree with all those shots in terms of player performances. Looking at some of the guys who came off the bench there. Felipe Sanchez was standard, Donkor as well. Matriciani obviously made there, and Max Gruger, got to see him back. I think I was kind of surprised that
yeah, Gruger, we haven't seen a whole lot of him this season, so yeah, that's a good mention. I forgot about
him
that.
And Remmer, we haven't seen. I was surprised Remmer didn't get to start this one in that position that Valentevitz got, but I'm not going to complain. The young 17-year-old got 94 minutes and looked decent for that game. Looked, like you said, like he belonged. Michael even says Valentevitz his pace, which he can't coach. Just happy to have it. And Remmer provides that too, but maybe he's not quite ready from injury. I don't know.
It's a big ask too. He's coming in a huge game for us in the course of the season. So for him to have that performance, I mean, I think it's good.
It wasn't like it was Munster, right? It was
sure, yeah.
Elversberg, So yeah, no, I love the performance that he provided there. So us talking about the defense here, it kind of segues into our first talking point, and it's after the last two games, the dismal games where we lost 4-0 to Darmstadt and 2-1 to Karlsruhe in that fashion. coming up against the highest scoring team in the league. Team had 24 goals coming into this, 0 shots on target. I think depending which app you look at, they had either 1 shot on target or 0 shots on target. XG of 0.22 for a team that scores 24 goals. That's pretty damn fantastic. It's back to that stout defending we talked about. Is it always the most entertaining or beautiful? No, but it sure as hell got the job done, Jack. So I think the Schalke crisis is averted for now. Gritty, disciplined, defensive performance. I think it just proves that Miron Muslic's defensive plan, it's working.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games where I probably would have said beforehand that if we win, it's not going to be 1-0 and that we would probably need to score 2 goals or something.
Yeah.
Because Elversberg is that dangerous. And so these are the kind of games where I get nervous just because I feel like our offense isn't up to the task too often. But once again, yeah, if the defense can put in a performance like this, then you don't need the offense to do anything incredible. And as long as you get your goal at some point, whether it's a set piece or whatever, and once again, comes off a throw-in. I don't love it. I mean, like I'm concerned about the offense, but we win games. You know what I mean? So like, look, it was a fantastic defensive performance against arguably the best attack in the league. So yeah, great.
Eric says, sometimes I wish Karaman was a step faster. Sure, we all do. Michael says, Coach said after that Remmert picked up a strain in the warm-up. Okay, that makes sense then. But hey, great 17-year-old to put in there in his place, right? And then 2 weeks to get some injured players back. Yeah, because we international break. Kind of some players want to focus about the defense real quick. I want to give a shout out to Loris Karius because he got another clean sheet.
Yep.
He didn't really have much to do in this game, but I thought he was sharp. He was ready for it like we've been talking about. But also in particular, Hasan Kuruçay and Nikola Katic, 2 guys organizing that defense. Look like walls back there. They do it on both sides of the pitch. Physical, getting the balls in the air, composed. These guys have been a godsend this year for us defensively. When we knew that was our biggest weakness coming in, they've kind of been a nice warm blanket as of lately, just calm some nerves back there for us.
Yeah, I thought Kuruçay had probably the better game overall, even when you take away the goal. But it was a good. I thought it was a good game from Katic too, for sure. When the two of them play that well, it's gonna make things easier for Ion on the side because he's having to play a lot of minutes right now that he wasn't anticipating playing at the start of the season with Becker out. So, and that's probably only going to serve us well going forward if we can keep getting clean sheets despite that. So, he's going to be getting a lot of experience that maybe he would have otherwise gotten at this early in the season and this early in kind of the Muslic reign. So, but yeah, Katic, great shout too. In addition to Kuruçay, obviously the goal scorer, but was good outside of that.
Obviously, if you haven't seen a thumbnail for this podcast, go check it out. The dive in the air by Katic. What a fantastic shot that was! Brilliant, whoever took that shot. So wonderful to see. But going back to Hasan Kuruçay, essentially a scapegoat because the last several weeks he hasn't been up to par of what we've been used to with him. Had some mistakes here and there, but obviously became kind of the hero, obviously, with the goal, but obviously his performance all the way around. Obviously, Moussa Sylla gets an assist in this game. Gets a point for him, even though he didn't get any goals in this one. But with Hasan Kuruçay getting back to what we've expected of him as being the best defender, essentially, for Schalke, thoughts on what he means to us and what we need from him, I guess, for the season going forward, because is he not one of the key figures, I think, for this team to be successful?
Yeah, absolutely. And even when he had a dip in form, I wasn't super worried about it just because I think he had, bought the benefit of the doubt this season. I had no expectations for him at all coming into the season whatsoever. And it took me, a few games to kind of get on board because I don't think he showed a ton that was spectacular early in my opinion, but like certainly won me over and is not only defensively solid, reads the game really well in that regard, but also he's good in possession. He can pick a pass, he can break a line with a pass, and he's scored multiple goals this season. So he affects the game in multiple areas of the pitch.
What have I said about his passing this year? It's been good, really good.
Yeah.
He doesn't
no, absolutely. So there's different areas of the pitch and different phases of the game where he can impact things. He's not a one-dimensional. Like Katic is a little bit more of a one-dimensional defender to some extent, but like he was very good in this game. So like, yeah, Kuruçay is great signing. I think very influential, and it helps take the pressure off when there's so many other like younger guys around him, whether it's Becker on the left of him or El Fauzi in front of him, or whatever the case may be. So.
Yeah, I remember, Michael says it's hard to believe he was a free agent in the summer. One of the guys that Bauman saw that Manga didn't. But I remember when Kuruçay got signed, I threw it away. I said, it's a depth signing. He's going to make no impact on the team. Boy, was I wrong on that. And I'm glad I was wrong on that. He has been great to see. Like I said, I've been raving about his passing ability, long distance. We haven't had a good center back passer since, Kaminsky, because Kaminsky is, kind of known for that. But this guy is such an all-around defender and has been doing everything, even when he's had bad games, like you mentioned. I haven't worried either. I think of anyone back there, I was most comfortable him kind of regaining shape. Katic, to his credit, he kind of had some slump as well for a little bit, but he seemed like he's back to his normal self, or what we consider his normal self. So great time for the team as a whole and the defense to kind of shake out the cobwebs and get back to what we've seen so far this season. So that's been great. And then moving on to the third talking point, and you kind of already alluded to it. We've been talking about, actually, anytime you talk about Schalke, you can talk about it. It's our lack of possession, and we're still getting the points, right? It's winning ugly versus like the stats war. You talk to anybody, any haters, or just anybody who wants to be a statistician, looking from that perspective, and no disrespect for that, but you look at Schalke from that point of view, and you're like, they suck. They really don't know nothing. They're winning by the skin of their teeth. They're getting very lucky. But then you look at it from what Muslic wants. He wants to win gritty. He wants the Schalke mentality to fight for everything and earn everything. And from that perspective, he's doing what he's doing there. So it's like at one point, and I think it was maybe last podcast or the one before that, we talked about like how do you balance that? And it doesn't really matter, possession versus looking good and getting the win. I think they even said it in this game, the commentator, how like out of any team in the Zweite Schalke has the least possession out of anybody, and they're top of the table, one of the top teams. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. I can't remember. Maybe a Mourinho team's the last time you've seen a team move like that when he was in his heyday. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you there's different ways of controlling a game. You don't have to have the ball necessarily to control the game, but I think it's dependent on the match. Like I said, there have been games that we have won 1-0. I'd have to go look at some of, to figure out which, but there have been games where we've won 1-0 or very, very low scoring or whatever, where it is lucky, where you feel like the opposition had 3 or 4 pretty good shots where they broke us down or whatever, and Karius made a save or something happened and it was, called off or, whatever, like whatever the situation may be. Like there's been opportunities where, it looks like, but then this is another one where today I thought like this was actually a pretty competent performance. So, like this was one where we had less possession and I felt pretty good about it overall. So it kind of depends, on the match. And I think we're definitely playing a dangerous game overall, but clearly, this is the way that Muslic wants to set up his team. And overall it's working very well. And we're frustrating, really good attacks like Elversberg. I'm not saying that, people can't have an off day, but like Ebnou Talib looked terrible in this game.
He did.
And he's the most dangerous striker in the league. So like,
yeah.
You have to give credit where credit's due. And at some point you kind of have to just, get on board with the program and hope that it sees us through. And like I said, until we really start tanking significantly for it, like I can't criticize it. Like, and we were talking, I was worried about this game based on how we looked, but I wasn't worried overall based on the couple down games. Like we're allowed to have a couple bad matches here and there.
It's good opponents.
We won 5 games in a row before that. Like we can lose a game or two. It's okay. And then this is a great response. You know what I mean? We're right back to it. So until there's something more significant, I'm not overly concerned or anything like that. But I would like to see the offense improve for sure. Definitely.
Michael says 7 goals conceded and 27 points are the only stats that matter. I mean, yeah. And Eric says, also, this style of play would translate to the first division. This is how they would absolutely have to play if we went up. I mean, that's probably our only option at this point. But I kind of here's my question back to you on this whole Muslic pragmatic defensive style. Is like, is this the only way this team can win? If there's another big crucial game, can we score enough goals? That I'm not sure of. I like to think we could, but I don't know at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know.
Defensively, I think we're gonna have to suffocate teams. But if it gets become an open game for some reason, I don't know how confident I feel.
No, I agree. And once again, even some of the games where we have scored multiple goals, how many of those goals are like coming through possession and working something as opposed to, there was a pressing trigger, and we force somebody into a bad pass, turned it over. Like those are different types of goals in terms of how they come about and how repeatable they are in certain situations. And like, we've had success. And I'm just saying like, even the games we've had multiple goals that hasn't necessarily been good offensive performance. It's come from, once again, what Muslic is drilling against the ball, which is still valuable, but it doesn't, it is a concern for sure.
Well, one of the things Muslic has been drilling is make home a fortress, and we're back to that. He's kind of restored that. Back in the promotion race, or back in comfortable, it's probably the most comfortable position in a long time, being in second place with a 4-point gap. Critical game. You mentioned in the beginning. It's a critical game. Ends our 2-game losing streak. Confidence is back after a sellout crowd. What was it 61,818 or something like that? Unbelievable there. Top 2 in the league. we got a game against Munster coming up, but we got a 2-week break. I think this is a fantastic way to head into international break. Had we had the opposite result where we lost, these next weeks would have been a lot of looking the finger at each other and saying, "Is this for real, or which team are we?" But now that we're back winning, it gives the guys a bunch of confidence. Gives the guys who are coming back from injury hunger to get back on the pitch and fight for position. I think we're in a good position right now, and it's. I can easily see us. I think the crisis talk that some people were talking about with the 2 losses, it's got to be over for now. And if anything else, it's given us confidence to say, A, we can get another 5-game winning streak, and B, promotion is not out of the question just yet. We're very much in the discussion, which is a nice change for once.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not trying to say that the losses weren't disappointing. They were, not just that they happened, but also the manner in which they happened. But this was about as good of a response as you could have hoped for outside of like a 4-0 win or something like that. So, but yeah, to stifle a really good attack, and to do that at home, yeah, it's great. Good vibes heading into the break, and then like you said, like Michael mentioned in the chat, opportunity for us to get hopefully a little bit healthier, and yeah, make a final push before Christmas break.
Absolutely. Looking at the statistics in the game, kind of how they were so lopsided. This comes from SofaScore. You can see the lopsided percentage. Neither team had really a high XG at all. Final passes, it was shots 7-6, but 2-0 on target for us. Passing wise, where was that pass? I saw it before. Here we go. 509 passes for Elversberg, 224 for us. It's just us being defensive and locking up shop. So, hey, got it done. That's all that matters. And with a win, we always look to the kicker 11. Did any of our boys make it? And we got 2 guys, the 2 guys we just spoke about recently. Mikola Katic and Hasan Kuruçay make the kicker 11. Obviously, they're 2 fantastic defensive performances. Obviously, Kuruçay with the goal. But, yeah, good for both of them. Make it in there. You could argue maybe Alfauzi again. Not maybe necessarily Karius because he didn't have much to do. But there's some decent performance in the game, like you said. But I'm happy these 2 guys made it in the kicker 11 there.
Yeah, and it's usually a good sign when you have people making these sorts of lists as often as it's been the case this season. I don't remember too many podcasts where we were showing graphics like this last year. So,
Been a while.
It's usually means good things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So both those defenders, I think, well deserved. Yeah, because I thought they both had good games in this one for sure. Katic was very solid as well.
Overall, in the table, go back to the table here. Again, second place, 4-point gap between us and Elversberg. Next game we got coming up is against Munster. We're sitting 12th place at the moment. 17 goals for, 21 against, so they give up a lot of goals. They score goals as well, but give up a lot. And they've lost 4 points in a row now recently or whatever in the table. So, yeah, not the greatest performances there, but at least lately. So, but we'll take it. We just gotta not have a trap game like you've seen many big teams do, or teams that are in good positions. They play a team that's not necessarily at their level on the table, and they play down to their level, and it gets haywire. So I don't want to see that. I don't think Muslic is going to allow that to happen. I don't know if the game is at home or away yet, but it shouldn't matter at that point, honestly. But a lot of the performances have been good, and in particular, two young guys who've punched above their weight, above expectations. Soufiane El Fawzi, Vitaly Becker, 2 guys who didn't know what to expect from either of them, really. We saw highlights of El Fawzi in the Dritte Liga last year, and we're like, okay, this guy has some skills, but it's not really consistent. Vitaly Becker is a young guy, but we didn't know too much about him. Both have had really good seasons. Vitaly Becker has been like a lock on that left wing, workhorse, creating balls, opportunities on the offensive side. Defensively, fights for everything. The fans love him. Then Soufiane El Fawzi, just an engine, does it all. He's everywhere, like you said, and it's been a revelation for us, possibly signing the season there. Well, Zweite Liga is looking for their shooting star of the season so far, and both Vitaly Becker and Soufiane El Fawzi are in this. So give them a vote. Schalke reposted this, so go to their Twitter or all their social media and look for the link and vote for both the gentlemen. But thoughts on both Becker and El Fawzi this season, and how they've overperformed, I guess, our expectations.
Yeah, well deserved. There haven't been that many games where you felt like Becker got picked on in particular. You know, a couple of stretches here and there, but like for the most part, he got inserted and it's just kind of been a set it and forget it option ever since, which is, I think it's almost underappreciated. We haven't probably talked about it enough in the last couple of weeks. But very, very solid. And then, I mean, Alfauzi, he just seems to get better as the season goes. Contributes in a lot of different ways. But I mean, I'm sure Muslic absolutely adores that guy in terms of what he can bring to the way that Muslic wants to set us up. So, he's great.
Those two guys have been just fun joy to watch, really. And I just hope they continue it on, and we develop around them, develop them, encircle them with players that can help them grow as well, not only the team. Not much else to talk about. I mean, I know the international break's coming up. We hardly have any players these days that make these teams. Usually Nikola Katic or Sylla or somebody to make the international call-ups. A former player of ours, Hasan Kuruçay, gets his senior call-up finally. Obviously, he's not with us anymore, but we always like to keep tabs on our former players. Kind of shift speeds here, shift gears here for a second. It's been 16 years, and I can't believe it's been 16 years. It feels like it just happened. But 16 years ago, Robert Enke tragically passed away. It's wow. I feel old. I feel like it just happened. Obviously, sad that it happened. The whole Bundesliga community obviously felt this one, but wow, I saw it pop up on my Facebook, and it's like I had to share this. It's just not much to say. Just wow. Any other thoughts on this weekend in general before we get out of here?
Not particularly. Just say related to the note you just brought up. Just get help if you need help. Talk to people.
100%. Don't be afraid. Talk to people. All right, let's get on out of here. It is an international break. As we said, when we come back from the international break, it will be against Munster. We'll see. Maybe I'll pop up with a random stream during international break for some FM26 or something like that. We'll see. We'll see how the voice is if we get healthy enough. No more snow here. We got our first snow here in Cincinnati. Yeah. November 10th is it? 9th, 10th. So we beat you there, I think maybe. Not really. All right, Jack. Where can our followers find you on social media?
At JMMang, JMMANG, and on Twitter.
As always, you can follow me at R_KHARMAN. More importantly, follow us at Schalke America all across social media. Let's say follow us all across Chicago. You do that too. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe and like to us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, everywhere and anywhere, and share us with everyone. All right, we are on a little international break, and we will be back once the games come back against Munster. So enjoy the break. Enjoy the football, and we will catch you soon. Everyone in the chat, Glück auf. See you guys. Schalke